Hi, welcome. I am going to quickly talk about my favorite science fiction books that I read this year. First of all, this is just going to be the best of, and maybe some notable mids, because all of my worst science fiction books are the worst books I read this year, and they're in that video. And also, if you want just like a rant in general about how I feel about the current state of science fiction, you can find that in my most surprising and disappointing video as well. But let's get to it, okay? Number one on my list in this book is Doors of Sleep by Tim Pratt. It's a 4-star book about a very, very sweet, the sweetest male main character I've ever read in my entire life. I love this man who has the ability, the misfortune of traveling through worlds in his sleep, and we follow this guy as he makes friends, loses friends, faces an adversary. Some of the decisions will and may infuriate you as they did me, but they make sense because he is a sweet man. He's not going to do the things that you want him to do, that he needs to do. It's just not in his character. I think this is the first in a series, but I like how neatly it wrapped up. It did a good job at introducing, hey, there's like a bigger threat in the universe or whatever, and if you're interested you can read on, or you can just enjoy this story as it is, which I did, and I loved it. I liked all of the little people he picked up along the way, and I liked all of the different worlds he traveled to. Is it ever explained like why this happens? I think it is. I don't remember because it doesn't matter. You know, it doesn't matter. This was fun. Is this a fantasy? The Best of All Possible Worlds. This one is by Karen Lord. This one is like an anthropological science fiction written in first person, where our main character and her crew go around doing basically ethnographic studies of different people for, you know, a very sad reason. That was my favorite part of this book, is just going on this planet. The aliens look like us for reasons that are explained in this book, but I enjoyed being on this alien planet and going around and figuring out how different types of people were living, all of these small little societies. That was a great time. The thing I did not like was the romance. Hated it, because this is written in first person, and the main character, the female main character, is apparently aware enough to tell the reader about certain things that she's noticing about the behavior of a certain man, alien, but she's like too dumb to like figure out what's going on. It's one of the reasons why I hate first person. It's like, girl, come on, how do you not see? You are not this dumb. It's basically just that exploration, you know, finding different societies. There's like magic in this. No, it's not magic. It's like they have psychic powers or something. Could have done without that, honestly. There's a lot going on in this book, and most of it is good, except for the romance. Drunk on All Your Strange New Words is another one that I love, but this is on my best of list. So if you want to know about this book, head on over to that video. Sci-fi mystery set on near future Earth. There are aliens, love aliens, basically. That's what that is about. Constellation Games. This was another fantastic one, another 4-star book. Another one written in first person, unfortunately, because I did get tired of the main character. Anyway, this has alien games. This guy, our main character, runs a vlog, a gaming vlog or something, where he talks about games, and aliens pop up one day, make first contact with us, and they're like, hey, what's up? And you can make any request, and sometimes they'll oblige. He asks for their games, and then he reviews them on his little blog. We also get glimpses into, not glimpses, this is about this guy. We get a lot of information about his personal life and his like little interpersonal relationships. I loved the way that this ended. Oh my god. I loved it. I loved the ending. It was so good. I loved all of the different types of aliens. They were quite lovable, especially one or two. I did find myself skimming a lot again because I get tired, I get fatigued when I read a book in first person. I do get tired of being in one person's head, so I did find myself skimming. I got tired of some of the games. At a certain point I was like, okay, I get it. I get what's happening with the games. There's like some action, I guess, a little bit. One of his friends, he has like a guy friend who is just like, just a little bit pathetic, but all of that was fun. This was a great book. The ending, mwah, perfect. Glass and Gardens. I have an entire video in which I read Glass and Gardens, Solar Punk Summers. I read this to try and, you know, stave off my climate change depression, and it worked. It kind of did work. I am a little bit more hopeful about the future. Not really. I think I basically gassed it myself into thinking I'm more hopeful, but you know, whatever works. A lot of the stories were great, but watch out. Red Crusher, fantastic. Empire of the Sand. This is a fantasy. I'm putting it here because I didn't read too many fantasies. Again, this one is also one of my best of the year, so check out that video. This is a fantasy. It's in the desert. The magic is like dancing or something. I liked all of the mythological creatures, the mythology and the romance. Loved it. Planetfall is another one that was one of the best of the year. You'll find this also there. This is a space colony sci-fi. about a group of colonists who are on this alien planet for very shady reasons. They set up their colony next to a weird, fleshy, unexplained alien artifact. First person did not get tired of being in this character's head though, because she is one of the most interesting characters I've ever read in my life. I'm not a character person. Give me a good plot and characters that are not annoying and I am happy. But this character was fascinating. And Charles Machine's Surrender, I love this book. This is like what is this book? It's in the far future. It's cyberpunky thematically, but not aesthetically, which I like. I think I don't like cyberpunk, and my issue with cyberpunk is aesthetically. It tries too hard to be cool and comes across as cheesy. This was fun. The characters are like dark gray morally. There's some fun action scenes in this. The romance is basically BDSM and knife play. I was laughing out loud during those scenes. BDSM is so goofy. I'm sorry if it's your thing, but it is so goofy. There's AI in this, there's space colonization, it's lesbian. There are so many women in this book, to the point where a man was described at some point. I was like, oh, there are men in this book? Interesting. Okay. Loved Ministry for the Future by Kim Stanley Robinson. Kim Stanley Robinson is probably one of my favorite authors. Congratulations, KSR. Well done. This was hopeful in an austere way. It didn't do for me what Glass and Gardens did, because this was more reserved in its hopefulness, and even that was too much. So it didn't end up making me hopeful, because it was like, we can't even do these small things, we can't even do this is like so conservative in like expectations, but even that was too optimistic, and that just made me depressed. That first scene, I think it's the first chapter, is a horrifying look into the near future, especially for those of us who live in the global south. We are so fucked. They have fucked us over so much. It's going to be so much worse for us than it is going to be for them, and they did this. Dead Space, and this is a sci-fi murder mystery set in the far future, set in, you know, your typical space opera world where it's our world and everything is shit, but to the power of 1,000 or whatever. It's that. This was fun though. I really liked the setting for a murder mystery. It was great. Do I have any notable mid books I want to talk about? Ship of Fools, religious, horror, boring, the ending is bad. Oh, Freeze Frame Revolution. Oh my god. This premise is so interesting. So we have people whose job it is to put like gateways, wormhole gateways around the universe. So they're on the ship and they're asleep for, I don't know, millennia. Every now and then somebody wakes up and they have to put a new gateway to a wormhole that connects here to us home. That's the entire job, and then they go back to bed. The ship that they're on is run by an AI, and the AI basically runs everything, including their like little groups. Like it decides to wake this person up and it decides to group you with these people, all of that. That's basically the premise of this, and I think you can tell from the title what goes on from there. It's fun. The premise was very interesting, and I did enjoy reading this, but it was like, oh, okay. I liked the idea a lot. It just didn't have, I don't know, that thing to sort of push it over the edge to like, oh yeah, this is great. Book of All Skies, Greg Egan. Greg Egan is another one of my favorite authors, but that book, oh my god. The whole time reading that, I was confused. I saw the cover and I read the synopsis and it said something about a journey or something. So I thought, based on the cover, that the journey would be interstellar. It's your typical Greg Egan book where it's people discovering how their world works, which I like usually, but this one I didn't really enjoy. Mostly because I couldn't picture what this world looked like. From what I gather, it's a Taurus of some sort. I don't know. I still don't know to this day, and I don't care. Hercules Text, that was the last Jack McDevitt book that I read. I was like, I'm done. I've had enough. The Disturbance. Oh, The Disturbance by Brandon Q. Morris. I like Brandon Q. Morris. This book was fun. It reminded me of a movie, but I can't tell you what it is because it'll spoil the thing that happens in this book. I enjoyed that. I did pick up another Brandon Q. Morris after this. It wasn't as good as this. All Systems Red. Oh, The Murderbot Diaries. It's fine. When is that series ending? I'm out of joint. Oh, a Philip K. Dick book. My favorite Philip K. Dick book is still Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. I love that book so much that I have not watched Blade Runner or the sequel because I just feel like, how can you improve on perfection? I was like, oh, let me try another Philip K. Dick book. This was good, but didn't make any goddamn sense. The explanations. It's Philip K. Dick. Ballad of Beta 2. Oh, Ballad of Beta 2 by Legend of the Game, another classic. Samuel R. Delaney. I like all the science fiction books because they're short. The authors from back then could do so much with limited space, word count, whatever. They could do so much. And Samuel R. Dean did a lot of that, fleshing out this world through like diary entries and like, you know, excerpts from textbooks, fictional textbooks, you know, a class act. Those were the sci-fi books that I read this year. Can we have more robots and aliens, please? Bring back robots and aliens and fun and just like straight up genre fiction, please. We don't have to turn every single genre into lit fic.